Hello, Lauren Mercury fam. This is Third Eye Doll Astrology and Tarot. I said it backwards, but we're going to roll with it because that's how I roll. So welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm trying new backgrounds. This is nowhere near what I'm really going to have as my background. But I'm moving things around. I'm decorating my apartment. So I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. And I wanted to go ahead and introduce a new series, and it is astrology, right? Because I always do tarot card readings on here. But little known fact, my first love is astrology. And the reason why I haven't come on here and done astrology with you guys is mostly because I've been going through my own transformation, key buzzword, with my own life, and I wanted to go ahead and do things in a way that in its own time. So basically what I'm going to do is start coming on here and telling you some astrology videos, sun signs, more in depth, the birth chart, you name it, is going to be here. And hopefully if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you've been here for a while, thanks for coming back. But today we're going to get into the sun signs, and not too in depth because I'm an Aries. I don't really do that too much. But what I will do is get more in depth in other videos. But I want to get you guys into an intro into the archetypes and what they might mean. All right, so hold on a second. I'm getting thirsty. Let me go ahead and get my water. Okay. And I'm back. Thanks for your patience. So how did I get into astrology? Well, astrology is something that has been kind of speaking to me throughout my life. It's not as pervasive in mainstream now, or as it used to be. What am I saying? It wasn't as mainstream as it is now. When I was growing up, grew up as a Christian, and of course that was wrong. But even though that was wrong, most Christians know their sun sign. You know, they say, "Oh, I don't believe in that stuff, but I know that I'm an Aries. I know that I'm a Gemini. I know I'm a Cancer." Oh, it's BS. But it's something that's been calling to me since I was young. And it was so weird because I had a fascination with people's birthdays. I had a fascination with memorizing them for some strange reason. But you know, your life purpose begins to show up, right? In little ways. And when I got older, I realized that it would be easy to memorize my friends and family's birthdays if I were to group them by sun sign. And so I did that. And then a few years later in college, I had this friend who introduced me to Cafe Astrology, and she didn't even know what it was about. But she read the profile. She thought it was interesting. I read my profile because I was so obsessed with my career, my direction. And it took off. And I tried to learn it little by little, right? My first astrology mentor, if you will, was by video. It was Astrology. Most of you probably know who that is. And after that, you know, I had a cursory knowledge of what it was, a birth chart was. And I started to, like, you know, of course, analyze my dates and their moon and their rising if they knew their birth time, but definitely their moon, right? I tried to make sense of it. And then I met this guy after college, and well, he was a friend, but you know, we know how that goes, right? He was a friend, not really a friend, but you know, it's a whole nother video. But he introduced me to more about astrology. He introduced me to my first like astrologer, like in person. And we exchanged charts, and we were talking about them. And my first time, you know, talking with somebody who knows something about it. Well, we no longer speak to each other, and yeah, I might edit this part out. But, you know, basically, I came into astrology after a separation from somebody. I would say a karmic situation where it really catapulted me to my purpose. My 9th house ruler is in the 8th house. I know that he's like, what does that mean? Why are you putting out this terminology? But for those of you who are more intermediate or advanced, know that your 9th house is your spiritual beliefs, for the most part. And when the 9th house ruler is in the 8th house of transformation, your beliefs can change throughout your life. And that's exactly what happened. So my beliefs changed, and I think I was going through a Pluto, what was it? I think I was going through a Pluto, not a square. I think Pluto was actually touching my my natal Venus, which explains the transformation. And long story short, I was devastated by this separation. And one of my girlfriends at the time introduced me to an astrology group on Facebook, and it was history after that. I got my first birth chart reading, my little mini reading, and I was like so amazed at how on point it was that I decided to go ahead and just, it became my new obsession. And so here I am. So let me get some more water. I want to talk to you guys about some of the sun archetypes. And I think it's important to start with the archetypes because in astrology, we deal with concepts and symbols, right? And how those symbols interact with each other to tell a story about a person, place, or thing or concept, right? There's different branches of astrology. There's your natal chart. There's mundane, which talks about the world, events. There is, and the weather. There is horary. I call it orary. I don't pronounce the H. I'm not even sure if that's even right or not. But it basically answers your question in real time, if you will. It's kind of like a tarot reading, but it's with an astrology chart. So basically, it's a snapshot of when you ask that question, and the actual birth chart and reading it allows you to figure out what that answer is, right? Like, does he like me? Are we going to get married? Is this a good career path for me? Whatever it is, right? Where is my lost driver's license, which I've had to use so many times because I have ADD and I lose everything. But, you know, there's so many. There's medical astrology, right? Psychologists and mental health advocates and the like are using it more to help people. They might not do a diagnosis with your natal chart, but they kind of describe events in your life that kind of shaped your personality and some of your challenges that you can work through. Sorry, I'm kind of thirsty today. So, that might be a lot of information. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to get right into the sun signs. So most of you already know probably your own sun sign and what it might mean. I'm going to give you a brief cursory overlook of what that is. So let's start off with what the sun means. The sun is a luminary, okay? It's not a planet, but when you hear astrologers say planets, they might include the sun and the moon, which are actually not planets, they're luminaries. But just so that you know, when you look at astrology channels and you see sun and moon are described as planets, just please know that the astrologer knows what they're talking about. We just use sun and moon, we call them planets to make it easier for discussion and discourse, okay? So your sun is actually your identity. It's how you like to be affirmed. It's how you like to be a hero in someone's life. It's how you lead and how you make choices. Little known fact is that your sun actually makes choices. A lot of people are like, well, Mercury is how you make choices. Yeah, it's your sun as well. It's your sun who's making the choices in your life. It's your sun that guides your life. It's the beacon of light. How exactly you're going to present yourself, other than your ascendant, how do you express yourself? It's your creative expression, right? So with sun in Aries, you might think, oh my God, my girlfriend's a sun in Aries. She's so aggressive. She's always, play fighting with me. She's always so angry. Listen, it's a lower vibration, okay? I am an Aries, I can say that. But, Aries get the reputation of being angry, having anger management issues. If you're an Aries, you might have heard the saying, ma'am, please, this is a Wendy's, right? Like, calm down. You're in a place of business. Let's not get too hasty. Let's calm down. That's us, right? In our lowest vibration. In our highest vibration, we can make very great advocates. We can be heroes. We're on the front lines in the military. We are the first to go into danger. We shoot first and we ask questions later, which might get us in trouble. But we are fearless, all right? Like our cousins in Scorpio, our cousins are Scorpio because ruled by the same planet, which is Mars. Mars is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio, just for discussion's sake. And so Mars, it's like how you assert yourself, and it's your passion. It's how you fight, right? Because Aries are fighters, whether they're fighting for their life, whether they're fighting when they're sick and they're fighting for their life, whether they're fighting for their country, whether they're fighting for their family, whether they're fighting for rights. You'll find a lot of civil rights activists that are Aquarius and Pisces, but also Aries. Like, I know that a lot of feminists will be an Aries sun sign, because Aries sun sign is your divine masculine. It's a masculine sign. There's actually a lot of masculine and feminine. The sign that divides my masculine and feminine sign. Excuse me. Masculine and feminine signs. Okay. And Aries is kind of like that traditional, you know, masculine energy where it's like, I'm Tarzan, you're Jane, right? And but it's like the pure essence of, you know, the energy that's kind of like very tough and very assertive. All right. You have, you know, Aries will tell you where to go and how to do it, right? We tell you we're very direct. We know what we want, and we are not someone who is very passive. Unless there's other things in your chart that make you passive, but for archetype's sake, we're not generally very passive. Okay. So. Aries, you might find us being pioneers, because we're the first person to strike a new path. You might find us as police officers. You might find us as surgeons, because believe it or not, Mars is ruled by the sword. It rules knives. It rules sharp things. And we're talking about surgery. You're talking about, you know, the scalpel, right? And cutting into the flesh and actually repairing an organ. We are also butchers. So you might find us, you know, as a butcher in a deli, right? You might find us actually anywhere, because all 12 sun signs can do anything. But we're usually in places where it calls for us to fight, like in a courtroom, okay? In a courtroom, it's a fighting career, even though it's definitely a very everything's in order. It's definitely a fighting career. You know, attorneys generally have Mars or Aries or Scorpio, not all the time, but you know, there's a prominence there. That Martian energy where an attorney or in the legal field is, because you know we kind of are very aggressive. It's an aggressive, you know, it's an aggressive occupation. Of course, the military, I said it before, but anywhere where it calls to be a hero, or where it calls to be someone who is fearless and in the front lines, trauma surgeons, you know, people who are first responders, maybe even lifeguards, you know, anywhere where it calls to go into action immediately. You know how Nike has that motto, just do it? That's us, just do it. We don't think about it too much. When we want to do something, we just go ahead and feet first. You might see us moving around a lot at work, because we need to be always moving. Aries, we like to exercise. We like to always be moving, okay? You might see us in the gym. We're gym rats. For the most part, me, no. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart, so it kind of gets, for me to start moving, exercising is kind of like pulling teeth. But for most Aries people, we like to move around and exercise, and that's how we get a lot of steam out. That's how we get, you might see us boxing a lot, right? Taking our aggression out on a punching bag, hopefully a real punching bag, right? Yeah, so stuff like that. We're the reason why anger management classes were created. I'm gonna put that out there because it's true. We really go through a lot, and hear me out. we go through a lot because we live in a society where, you know, it's we're always seeking peace. But Aries, we're kind of like, we're okay with things that are not peaceful. We want to get things done, and we want to get things done fast and quick and deliberate. So we're not going to always be very patient. We're not very good with patience, right? We're not going to be very patient when it calls for a slower energy to get things done, or where it calls to keeping the peace or being diplomatic. We're not as good as that as our Libra counterparts. But you got to understand that we kind of have to be a chameleon as a Libra, you know, all day, and try to get out our aggression, whether it be running or boxing, or, you know, maybe in a fighting career, in it being an attorney or a judge, or, you know, in a surgeon, where we get to cut through things. We like to get to the heart of things, no pun intended, but we like to, you know, be in fields where we can be our true essence and our true expression. Okay, so that's Aries. If you have a sun in Taurus, I love you guys, because I have moon and Venus in Taurus. Taurus are going to be your natural cooks, and I had to put that out first because that's why I love you guys for cooking, right? If you're a Taurus or a prominent Taurus in your chart, you might be a good cook, and you're saying to yourself, I hate cooking. You might have the potential of being a accomplished chef, and you might not even know it. But if not, you know, you guys love food. You guys have great taste in food. But you already knew that before you even clicked on this video. You already knew that you have good taste in food. You guys love quality. I love what about Taurus is that you guys are all about money, and you like spending money, but you also know how to save it. Because God forbid that Taurus is not secure financially. That is like against their religion. Everybody wants to be secure financially, right? To a certain extent. But Taurus, please do not mess with their bag, okay? They go out, they might be considered lazy, but let me tell you something. They get their work done. It might not be on the way you want it to be done, but Taurus will get their work done, okay? They are not messing around with their paycheck. They pay their own bills. They prefer partners who pay their own bills. They prefer partners who pay for them. But they're the kind of people where you go out to eat and they might foot the bill. They're very generous, you know, and they're generous friends, and they always have resources. They have candy. They have, you know, the latest creature comforts. They have comfortable, we go to their house, they have comfortable couches. They probably have luxurious sheets on the bed. But I can tell you one thing, that when they buy things, they're quality, but they got it for a bargain, okay? They don't go out there and just start tossing money everywhere. They don't do that. They go out and they clip their coupons. They go out and they get the best for their dollar amount. They don't do things cheaply though. But they're gonna get the quality. They like quality. You might get chastised a lot for doing the same thing day in and day out. Taurus, you know, Taurus energy, you guys like what's stable. Whether you're conscious of it or not, and your sun sign is your consciousness, so you do know this. But, you know, whether you are conscious of it or not, you guys like what is tried and true. You say, you know what? I love having eggs and bacon for breakfast. I'm going to have it every day. I'm a t-shirt and jeans person. You're going to get that every day from me. Taurus rarely, you know, you ask Taurus what's the varieties of spice of life, they'll tell you salt and pepper, you know. I mean, they use more than that in their cooking, but I'm saying that they're not somebody who just tries new things just to try new things. They're like, you know, they do the same thing day in and day out. They're considered somebody who's like the slow pokes, right? They're kind of like, they move along at a steady pace, but, you know, they're very stubborn. And you know what? Me being a moon in Taurus and Venus in Taurus, stubborn quality is, I think that's as an asset, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Taurus energy is stubborn. Taurus is not going to do something, it's not going to change their life or change their plans just because somebody else told them to do it. Taurus makes a plan and they stick to it. That about them, we're talking about stubborn qualities being a lower vibration. The higher vibration of Taurus is determination, okay? They see things through. They are all about commitment, okay? Commitment to their partners, commitment to a job. You might see a Taurus work the same job for 20 years, and even though they complain about the job, and you say, why don't you just quit? They have the long-term goal in mind, like their Capricorn a brother and sister. They have a long-range goal in mind. They want to have a certain achievement. They want to have a certain goal that they set out for themselves. They're using the job for what it offers them, and then once they finish that, they go on to the next thing, okay? But they want to make sure that they are financially stable. So that means they're not going to go ahead and just quit out of nowhere. They might, depending on what goes on in their chart or what transit they're going through, but they're not going to just up and say, oh, F it all, right? They might have savings in place. They might have investment accounts, savings accounts, a Roth IRA, and all those financial planning stuff. They have those low risk securities and stuff like that because they're trying to build. They're trying to build, right? They want to make sure that they're taken care of and their family's taken care of, right? Their friends, who they're in charge of, is taken care of. So that's them in a nutshell, okay? So let's see, what's next? Gemini. If anybody knows about the zodiac sign, Geminis and Scorpios get the most stuff thrown at them, and I'm so sorry. I've had a new appreciation of Geminis, and I think it's because I've started to own my own Mercury energy. Because I had to think about it one day recently about how I say mercurial, but mercurial means something else entirely in English language. When I say mercurial, I mean a prominent Mercury in my chart. I have it conjunct my 7th house DC, which means that it opposes my ascendant. What does that mean? It means that I have Gemini traits, and once I started to understand and own up to the fact and understand how that Mercury operates in my life, how that Gemini energy operates in my life, I've had a new appreciation for Geminis. And I've started to understand and really be able to be very affirming of their changing personalities, okay? And I'll show you what I mean. So Geminis, they get the reputation of being two-faced. And, maybe I know better Geminis, but I mean, if they want to be malicious, they certainly can be, but Geminis just, they hold two different personalities in the same person. They hold two opposing concepts in their mind at one time. They hold many different belief systems, many different points of view at one time, and they're able to do that without having cognitive dissonance. Where most of the world is like, they have one viewpoint and everything is this and that. Gemini sees it all, right? They're the kind of people who are going to absorb information for information's sake. Most Gemini that have a lot of networking. They network. They have a lot of contacts. You meet a Gemini and you're like, hey, Lucille, my Gemini friend, do you know anybody who, I don't know, is a good tarot reader? They have a whole Rolodex. They have like a whole contact list of tarot card readers in the area. They know everybody that's everybody. They, Gemini is actually associated with the third house of your local community. So they would know, all of the resources that are in the local community, and they pull it out of their hat at any time. If you ask them a question, they're like the human Google. They know the answer. If they don't know the answer, they're going to figure it out. What Geminis are not concerned with is specializing. Not to say that they won't specialize, but they prefer to know a little bit about a lot of things. And because of that, you might find them specializing in more than one area. So, like I have a Gemini friend who is in the social services world, but he's also a great computer whiz, is going to school for computer engineering. Another friend who's a singer, a Gemini who's a singer, and she's also in social services, but she also has other side businesses. Geminis, especially in the career field, they wear many hats, okay? They don't just do one thing. They do multiple things. They wear multiple hats. They might be called to be a manager running a skeleton crew, because they can be the front desk person, and they can be the bellhop in a hotel, and they can be the maid, and they can be the chef, and they can be the hostess. They can do everything. They're a one-man or one-woman show. If there is anybody who can do a one-man or one-woman show, it's a Gemini, because they have more than one alter ego, right? So I love them. I think that deep down they want to be understood, and they want to be accepted for, how they show up. We say, oh, we don't know who's going to show up when Jimmy comes around. Be accepting of it. You know what I mean? I think Geminis can be the best actors, because let me tell you, Geminis, when they have a Gemini, I'd say Jupiter and a high Neptune and maybe Leo in their chart, I know it's a lot, but they are very good actors, especially when they have Neptune contact, because they make very great impersonators. So they go in and out of characters, okay? If you've ever seen, oh man, what is that tarot? Well, I don't know if it's a tarot card reader or not, but there is this guy on YouTube he's a Scorpio, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's Gemini on his ascendant, or Mercury is prominent in his chart. But he goes to through these different characters through the Zodiac, and he like makes fun of pop culture, creating these characters. And I'll probably put his name and his YouTube channel down in the comments and description box. But Geminis are going to be like if they play an instrument, they play many instruments. All right. If think about Prince, or think about a lot of Geminis, because Geminis, for one thing, whatever they do plural of. So they can be multi-instrumentalists. They can also be magicians, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, Mercury was the god of commerce, but he was also a trickster, right? So Mercury can play tricks. Geminis are known to play tricks, especially when Neptune is prominent. You might find a lot of magicians having that in their chart. What else? They do so much. They're your Uber drivers. They're your taxi cab drivers. They're your bartenders and hairdressers. There's a lot of Gemini bartenders and hairdressers. Why is that? If any profession where you just walk in and you start talking to somebody a lot, and you feel comfortable talking up to them, they likely are a Gemini, or they have a lot of Gemini in their chart. And they're your bartenders, and they're your hairdressers. Think about it. Even if they're not a lot of Geminis in that field, I have to do my research. But Mercury is definitely highly prominent in those fields where it's like you feel good going to them and talking to them about whatever. And so there's that. Gemini, I can go on all day about Gemini. It's ruled by Mercury, and they're awesome. They also share their Mercury with Virgo as well. So let me get some more water and talk to you about Cancer. Cancer. Everyone knows that Cancers are the mother of the Zodiac. Cancers are, the mother of the Zodiac. They get a bad rep for being sensitive. Well, they are, but everyone knows a Cancer. Not everyone, but then you have Cancers that are like, I'm not that sensitive. I don't care that much about my family, because they're family oriented, right? Well, I don't really care about my family like that. Okay. Every Cancer is different. The archetype, though, is very about home and their home country, their home family. You have a lot of patriots who have the sign of Cancer. Even if they, like here in the U.S., we have a lot of political strife. And, you know, even those who don't know what's going on, well, not know what's going on, who don't agree with the political strife that's going on, they at least are still they still love their country, but it's not, how should I put this? Cancers love their country, regardless. Just like they love their family, regardless of how dysfunctional it can be. It's always about family. It's about heritage. It's about home country. It's about home cooked food. It's about mom. It's about memories and nostalgia. That's Cancer in a nutshell. It's all about their children, too. Whenever there's a Cancer around, the Cancer is going to defend you until death, right? Cancers are always there to defend you whether you're right or you're wrong. They're protective. They're protective of who they call family. And that means their actual biological family and their friends. They're nurturers. So they're going to ask you, have you eaten today? You're getting a little slim. What's going on? I noticed that you were sad today. Tell me what was going on. They kind of are fixers in a similar way that Virgo can be fixers. That's my cat. It's not my cat. It's nothing's there. But but they are fixers. They want to they pride themselves in being the rock of the family. Okay, they're the ones who feel responsible for, I shouldn't even say feel responsible for, but a lot of times they might be the ones who are trying to get the family to stick together. Where you find a Cancer, you might have a certain obsession with a mom or a maternal figure, or even just people who are older, who are older and wiser. They're the ones who might take care of their parents when they're in old age. They might also, of course, be in occupations where they're nurturing, whether it be school teachers, whether it be nurses, whether it be doctors, whether it be obstetricians, specifically working with women, doulas. Let's see what else. They also rule mom and pop shops. They could be restaurateurs, if I'm pronouncing that right. But if they own a restaurant, they can own a restaurant. They're good at managing people. Well, personally, I say Cancers are the best at managing people, because Cancers are the kind of people where if they have a team that they're over, they know how they can read people, right? So they know Timmy's strengths and weaknesses. They know what time Timmy comes into work. They know that Timmy gets hungry at 12 o'clock and he has a sandwich with ham and tomato and a little bit of mayonnaise. They know those details. They can clock anybody. When you make friends with a Cancer, they start to learn you because they want to find the best way to nurture you. And when they are managers, they want to find the best way to be able to make you be useful, right? In a way that's beneficial to you and the company, and at the same time. Cancers, but I vote Cancers for the best managers of the Zodiac. That's just my take on that. When you get in trouble, they defend you in front of the big boss, right? They're the ones who nurture you. They're the ones that if you have a family member who's sick, they're the ones giving you a Hallmark card, having everybody sign it. They're the ones who might deliver flowers to your door. They're the ones checking in and seeing how they are. So Cancers do that, anywhere they go. How's mom and them? How is your kids doing in school? Last time I talked to you, Jimmy was in 7th grade on the honor roll. How's he doing now? That's what Cancers do. They love family. They love your family too. Okay? Everyone wants a Cancer as a nurse. You definitely don't want an Aries. I'm just kidding, Aries. I'm just kidding. I'm an Aries. That's what I say. I make fun of Aries most because I am one. But not all Aries are created equal, But Cancers, Cancers as nurses, and I know that you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm a Cancer. Yeah. We have this stereotype of being nurses. You guys are the best, okay? You guys are the best nurses ever. I'm sorry. You guys are so great. But let me stop fangirling for you guys so I can explain more. So Cancers, but Cancers, I love Cancers because they also have a great memory, okay? Cancers have a great memory, and a little known fact about Cancers is that when Cancers have a great memory, and it serves them well when in academic fields or STEM fields or any fields that requires a lot of memorization, and they don't get a lot of credit for that. I'm trying to give an example because I know that there are I've been thinking of some scientists who have either Cancer on their 3rd house, or moon. Their moon is conjoined their Mercury, which is Mercury's your thoughts, and moon is also going to be your memory. When Mercury and the moon is ruler of Cancer. Let me go ahead and put that out there. Moon rules Cancer, and moon rules. When it comes in contact with Mercury in the person's chart, it gives them excellent memory. Mercury in Cancer, excellent memory. They might tend to memorize details that are of the emotional kind, but they can also use that to memorize facts and figures and whatever else. So I know that in some people's charts where they don't have a strong Mercury, but they have Mercury in the 4th house, which is a Cancer house, or if they have Mercury conjoined with the moon, it gives them a little bit more of a memory boost to where that they can have good memory. Little known facts about Cancers, okay? But Cancers, you guys are the best. Next to Tauruses, you guys are the best cooks. You make things with love. You do things with care. Anytime you want something to be done in a very thoughtful way, definitely petition a Cancer to do so. Anytime you want something to be nurtured or something to be carefully done, carefully packaged, there's your Cancer. Anytime it has to do with safety, public safety, it's your Cancer energy, right? Cancers are going to be the ones who are in the lower vibration. They're going to be your helicopter parents. Low vibration, but they're all about safety of their loved ones. They probably invented the seatbelt. I don't know who invented the seatbelt, by the way. But when we talk about Cancer energy, that's where they shine the most. When it comes to inventing concepts or inventions that have to do with safety or in care. Next is Leo. Shout out to my Leos. Okay, Leos, it's your time to shine. Let me get some water for you guys. Leos know who they are, okay? Not every Leo wants attention. I know it comes as a shock to you. It came as a shock to me as well. Not all Leos want attention. But Leos are cool because they have confidence. They don't give a damn who you what you say, they're going to have confidence. Do all of them have confidence? No. But Leo is a sign of confidence. So when it is in dignity, which is, well, it is in dignity being the sun sign. Sun's actually rules Leo, and it's in its domicile, right? So Sun, Leo. But they are going to be your theatrical people. They're going to be the ones who want to be in the spotlight. Typically, not all Leos want to be in the spotlight. Typical Leos want to be in the spotlight. They're going to be your YouTube personalities. They're going to be your TikTok personalities. They're going to be people with Leos. They tend to exaggerate and dramatize things. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm saying they can make a story really sound great. They can make a typical day in a boring life and make it seem like all drama happened. That's why, you know, YouTube personalities are so famous, right? Because they dramatize. They know how to make things appear to be more exciting than what they are. And you gotta love it, because on a boring day or when you're sad, they can be very, I'm thinking of the word impromptu, but they can like create anything into something that's fun and daring, and something to just like think about recreation, think about having fun. That's where your Leos come in. That's where all my fire signs, Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. But Leo rules fun. You can find Leo, the Leo sign, on as the cusp on the 5th house of fun and creativity. So with Sun and Leo, they are rulers of self-expression. All right, Leos, you might find them, they're the kind of person who they want to stand out. That means they might set trends, but also they don't want to like, they might come out, you know, do some things that are mainstream, but they kind of set the trends. They don't want to look like everybody else. They can look like everybody else. They can do trends, but when they go out, they want to make sure that all eyes are on them, typically. So they're going to be the most hurt if somebody else, most people are hurt when someone else is wearing the same outfit as them. But Leos are hurt, and they take it as a, you know, as a slight. If someone has, you know, they're out in the public and they spent the day getting ready and getting jazzed up to go out on a night of having fun, somebody's wearing the same thing as they are, and you know, it kind of ruins their night. That's the little jab at Leos. I'm so sorry. It's not typical of Leos. I'm just saying they love to stand out, and any way they can stand out, they will. Leos are great with children. Let me repeat that they are great with children. I didn't say that about Cancers. Cancers are also great with children. We know that, right? Cancers are all about caring for children. Their whole ego, I forgot to mention that Sun is your ego. And egos are not bad. Egos are not bad. I'm going to repeat that. Egos are not bad. Being an egomaniac is bad. Having an ego is perfectly normal. We all have one. And back to the subject. Cancer's ego is about caring and nurturing. If you have, Leo is next to Cancer. So what does that mean? If you're a Leo, there's a good chance, not all the time, there's a good chance that you have a lot of planets in Cancer or an ascendant in Cancer. And that a lot of times means that you are like a super parent, right? Because everything about you is about fun and children. Leos tend to love children because the children are a captive audience. They're experiencing things for the first time, and so Leos come in and kind of save the day with their heroicism, if I can pronounce that correctly, or by being fun with them, or like playing games. It's like children are an easy captive audience, so Leos love that. I'll find a lot of Leos as school teachers because of that. You might find Leos obviously in children's theater or on the stage or anywhere where children are involved, working with children, but they're also your recreations, right? You're gonna see Leos as your top promoters. You're gonna see Leos, I don't know, strip clubs. You're gonna see Leos flashing lights, anything to do with flashing lights and glamour and glitz. That's a Leo archetype. Remember when I said we're talking about archetypes, right? So if you're a Leo and you don't like to go out, you don't like to be vain, you don't like to do any of those things, or you're not a typical Leo, we got to look at your rest of your chart. But my Leo archetypes want to be seen. They want to be, you know, described as someone who is special, right? Leo is actually your sun. The sun is actually representing God, right? We say that we're made in God's own image. When we're talking about that, we're talking about the sun sign. Sun is actually represents God. Okay, hear me out. I'm not about to go into this whole kind of mystical tirade, but with sun, we associate that as an archetype of God. So we're talking about Leos. Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of hate. Please don't cancel me. Leos in the lower vibration energy can sometimes think that they're God. Lower vibration energy, okay, lower vibration. But Leos, they're you know, they because God is supposed to be the center of a person's life. In the same way, Leo like to be a center of attention. I might cut that out. Don't cancel me. Lower vibration people. The higher vibration is Leos are wonderful. They're very warm and they're very caring. And if you're around a Leo, they make you feel so, you know, warm and cared for. And you're going to have a lot of fun when you're around them. But I'll talk a little bit about in another video about why I say that Leos are God's gift. Because its literal translation of Leo is a gift. And then that's why I say that. But those are your Leos. What else can I say? There's so much to say about them. Leos like to take risks. Leo sign is a cusp of the 5th house of risks. 5th house also has to do with risks. So you might find them as gambling, but you might find more Sagittarius or gamblers. But Leo's going to be where Leos are going to be the more so like the casino owners, or anywhere you live the fast life. Again, stripper clubs, restaurants too, the theme parks, right? Parks and recreation, not the show, but actual parks and recreation. Think about, I don't know, the YMCA. Think about where else? Anytime where there's fun involved. Anything where it's children activities, right? You can find them at church doing the children's ministry or being the pastor. Leos are everywhere where leaders are needed. And they love to lead for the sake of people having all their eyes on them, and that's okay, you know. I think it's okay. That's okay that, you know, that's who they are. But yeah, sun's also your ego, and if you're looking for someone who has a healthy ego, typically it's going to be your Leos and your Aries and your Sagittarius too, but sun rules Leo, and sun is in its what I'm looking for. Oh my gosh, I'm stumbling right now. It's in exaltation in the sign of Aries. So Aries and Leos typically have a healthy ego. Now again, everybody's different because everyone has their unique chart. So don't come at me if you have ego issues or have low self-esteem or you don't know who you are. We're going to work on those. Okay? We're going to work on that. But typically, your sun is in domicile energy, which means that your sun is right at home in Leo, in the sign of Leo, and is exalted in the sign of Aries. So, healthy egos. Okay? So when we are talking, talked about why sun is in rules Leo, why it's a domicile. Because astrology, fun fact, astrology was created as a way of talking to the gods. it's a predictive tool to be able to by the ancients in order to be able to predict their crops, in order to be able to have agriculture, in order to be able to have abundant food and agricultural life. Okay. And what it is that the sun rules Leo because it's supposed to be the hottest. It rules like the hottest. Well, shoot, I'm getting to hemispheric stuff, but usually it's where crops tend to blossom and grow and stuff like that. Don't come for me if you're in another hemisphere, okay? But Leo is typically it's your sun sign that makes things grow, okay? And I'm fumbling my words right now, I'm sorry, but I'll explain more in different videos about what I mean by that. So next up is Virgo. Everyone knows a Virgo because Virgos like to make themselves known. I'll tell you why. Virgos get their rocks off for being useful. So they're going to show up every time where they need to be useful. You need somebody to make order of your life, call a Virgo. You need somebody to create a system of organization, call a Virgo. You need advice and you need straight shooter, call a Virgo. They get their rocks off being right. Everything about Virgo is finding the perfect answer to whatever problem you might have. They're problem solvers. So they like to be right. And I say that because, you know, I'm sorry, Virgos, you're not always right. You know, you happen to be right a lot, but no human's right about everything all the time. Okay? That's my only gripe about Virgos, is that, you know, when they express themselves, it's usually in the form of unsolicited advice about your life. I'm sorry, I'm a Virgo ascendant. I'm gonna be hardest on my own placements. Okay? So Virgos, they're actually wonderful because they're the ones that make things happen. They bring things into fruition. You have a vision, Virgo is there to bring it into fruition, okay? Virgo is the opposite sign of Pisces, where Pisces is the dreamers and the visionaries. Think about Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs is a Pisces. Also, Albert Einstein's a Pisces. They're visionaries. They created things that that people still use to this day, even long after their passing. They were revolutionaries, but they did that in part because they had vivid imaginations. But where Virgo comes in is Virgo goes in and they actually plans things out. You say, you have a vision? Great. Let's go ahead and make that vision concrete. Let's go ahead and draw a business plan or a plan or create a system of organization so that we can bring that dream into fruition. Virgos aren't bad guys, you know. They just want things to be in a certain order. They do have a downside to being perfectionistic, but it's for a good cause, right? So Virgos, you know, again, they like to be useful. So anytime where they are not, they feel like they're not being utilized, if they're not given a job or a task, they feel left out. They feel like, well, why didn't I get assigned this project? You know, they start being very hard on themselves because if they get passed up for a project, or it could be something as simple as leaving them out of your, like, if they find they have a problem, if their friend has a problem and they find out that, you know, you didn't call them to help, for them to help you, they might take that personally because that's their whole ego. That's their whole creative expression, is being able to help people problem solve. They are the best doctors, the best nurses next to cancers, because they, for one, they specialize, and they also have good memories. And they are rote memorizers. They are the kind of people who, you know, they memorize anatomy and physiology and everything in medical school, and they're able to disseminate the information to be able to problem solve and to diagnose your illness, or they're able to go through grad school, become a psychologist, and be able to use everything they've learned, and able to speak into your life in a way that is fruitful and abundant for you. So Virgos are there to help you. Call them. You have a problem right now, click off this video and call your Virgo, because they're going to be very grateful that you did, so that they can fix your life. Virgos, you know, we already know Virgos, they love to fix people, you know, and they can run into a problem sometimes because everybody wants to be fixed. But if you allow them to speak into your life in a way that, you know, is helpful, you'll find that your life can be on the right track when you have a good Virgo in your life. Okay? So, what else can I say about Virgos? Virgos are good technical writers. God, they do so much. I love them, actually. I'm fangirling for Virgos right now. Virgos are good in any job. Their whole ego is about job. They rule the 6th house of daily routine in your daily life on your job. Virgos don't know how to not be productive. They don't know how to sit still. They are only still when they sleep. And other than that, they have to always be improving something. And they spend a lot of time improving themselves. And unfortunately, sometimes they think that they're not good enough. Because they sit there and they overanalyze their flaws. But they're very good at self-improvement. And they try to always forever be improving someone else or something else, so that it could be, they can be their, you know, a person or place or thing can be their best. The Virgo is a symbol of the proverbial separating the wheat from the chaff. They're going to go ahead and try to, like, get all of the chaff from the wheat. When you harvest wheat, there's a lot of chaff. There's a lot of stuff that's not necessarily a part of the wheat in a crop, right? And they're going to go ahead and they keep pruning, and they keep pruning, and they keep pruning until they find, like, this perfect crop, or this perfect thing that they've created, that they've helped create for someone else. Think about how Steve Jobs actually has a Pisces sun sign and a Virgo ascendant. And I think he has a Mercury in Aries. Don't quote me on that one. But he is the perfect epitome of trying to perfect what he imagined in his head, and has disseminated that into the world. And we forever know him as the pioneer of revolutionizing cellular phones. So I'm going to take a break because my phone's running out of battery, and I'll be right back.